All right, today's lesson is 4-4, and what we're talking about is equations with two variables. So everything that we have done up to this point, we have done by solving equations that just had one variable. For instance, we would have things in the previous chapter like 6x plus 4 is equal to 15, and the idea was to solve for x. Okay, now we're actually going to be doing something where we are not, sorry, I don't want to move everything there. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to solve equations that have two variables. For instance, an equation that has, let's see, something like eight x plus 4y is equal to 12. That has two variables in it. It has an x and a y. And this is what's different about what we're going to do. So the first thing before we can attempt to solve equations like this is to understand what the format is that we would like to put that equation in. And the format is called slope-intercept form. It's in the form, a general form of this equation is y is equal to mx plus b. Tomorrow we'll talk about what the m and the b really mean, but for right now, all you need to know is where the m and the b are, we're going to insert numbers, okay? And we want our equations to make it easier for us to graph them. We want them to be in this form. So let's take a look at the example above that we had, the 8x plus 4y is equal to 12. And let's try to put that into slope-intercept form. So the first thing I notice is about slope-intercept form is that the y is on one side of the equation by itself. So I want to get y by itself. So the way I can do that with my example is by subtracting 8x from both sides. When I do that, I get 4y is equal to 12 minus 8x. Well, does that look like slope-intercept form? We're getting closer, but not quite yet. The next thing we would want to do to get y by itself would be to divide y by 4. So I'll divide everything on both sides by 4. And unfortunately, I'm going to run out of room, so I'm going to rewrite this on the next page. And I have to go back because I have to see what I wrote. Okay, so I'll divide both sides by 4. I get y on this side. 12 divided by 4 is 3. And then 8x divided by 4 is 2x. Don't forget that when you do this, you're dividing both the 12 and the 8x by 4. Okay, so this now does look like my slope-intercept form. I'll rewrite slope-intercept form up here so that we can compare. We have the y by itself. The only difference that we have here is the mx portion came first in the general form. So what I could do is I could just, in my example, switch the negative 2x and the 3 so that this now looks a lot like that form. Okay? So let's show another example. Okay, if we have 3x plus 2y is equal to 14, and we want to put it into slope-intercept form, which looks like this, y equals mx plus b. We want to get y by itself. So we're going to subtract 3x from both sides because we want to get the y term by itself. So then I end up with 2y is equal to 14 minus 3x. I then want to divide both sides by 2. So those cancel. I get y is equal to 7 minus 3 halves x. In order to make it look like my correct form, I'm going to switch the place of my 3 halves x and my 7. make sure, like in the example here, that because it's minus 3/2 x, make sure that when you put that first, that it's a negative 3/2 x. You don't want to lose your sign. Your sign's important. So be sure you don't drop that negative sign when you change the order. Okay? One more example just to make sure that we have this, the hang of this. If we have 5x minus 10y is equal to 20, and my goal is to put it into y equals mx plus b form, I know I have to get y by itself. So in order to get this y right here by itself on this side of the equation, I first have to subtract a 5x from both sides. Okay, and subtract 5x from this side. I get a negative 10y is equal to 20 minus 5x. And I have to be careful on this right-hand side. I can't subtract 5x from 20, right? Because those aren't like terms. So I just have to rewrite it basically in a line, like 20 minus 5x. My next step, I want to divide everything on both sides by negative 10. Okay, so it's y is equal to 20 divided by negative 10 is negative 2. And then a negative 5 divided by a negative 10 simplifies to 1/2 x. So I want to switch so that I have my term with the x in it first. So it would be 1/2 x minus 2. And then this, my answer, looks like slope-intercept form, okay? My m in this case is the 1/2, my b is a negative 2, okay? So we'll do more practice with this in class, but at least you've seen some examples. You know what we're trying to do today. We're trying to put all of our equations into slope-intercept form, and we'll talk more in class. That's it for today.